Hi everyone, welcome to another episode of my Cedar Point Recreation Park. Last time we wrapped up working on the marina over on the south coast of the peninsula. Today it's time to move to the other side and work on the last remaining areas over by Hotel Breakers and get some of that north coast area cleaned up. We got a lot to do today. You might notice this is a little bit of a longer episode than normal. Gonna be wrapping up a lot of things. A lot of work to do. Starting with, as promised last time, more parking lots. I know it's not particularly exciting to watch me continue to place down areas of tarmac paths and steel lattice work pieces for those lines, but man, it's gotta be done. There's so many parking lots in the park. I didn't even come close to filling up the main parking lot, but after the ones we built today, I definitely put down hundreds and hundreds of vehicles in these parking lots. A lot of work, but I think it really is worth it though. In the end, we do get a lot of really nice looking areas with all the cars in there, all the little extra flower beds, the lampposts, things like that. Definitely helps make these areas looking a lot nicer. So like I keep saying, it's tedious work, but it's definitely worth it. And it makes sense. Over here, we've got a lot of foot traffic going in and out of Hotel Breakers. We got 7,000 peeps in the park. Those people all have to park somewhere. Makes a lot of sense. They don't just appear out of nowhere. But yeah, it's been nice replacing these big dirt areas we've had here at the back of the park for so long. This is actually the final area on the inside of the park that we haven't filled in yet. It's been a real big hole over here between the hotel and the Magnum area. Nice to see it filled in. I don't have much else to say about it, it's just another parking lot. But it took me a lot of time to build them, so I gotta do voiceover for it regardless. We're also doing a lot of smoothing out of perimeter road, like we started last time. It goes all the way around these parking lots and underneath Magnum, around the back of the park. We've had a lot of placeholders in here, a little bit of yellow grid that needed to be cleaned up. And all that stuff is now finally built out. Which also means now we can finally fill in some other gaps that we have with foliage and fences around the edges of the parking lots. Just filling in more of those little corners like last time. Just adding a little bit of extra crunch to add some detail to the park, something interesting to look at. We also have some updates to make over here to Hotel Breakers. When I built it the first time around, the Google aerial view was a little bit old, so the new wing was still under construction. I didn't have quite a full picture yet of what it was going to look like when it was done, so I made some guesses as to what the walls and height and everything was going to look like. Despite the fact that I had stayed at Hotel Breakers like 2 months before, so I should have taken some better photos for myself, so that's my own fault. So we did have to tear down a big chunk of this wing and replace it, make it a little bit taller, change the textures of the walls and things like that. Not that a lot of people are even really going to notice, but it makes me feel better knowing that it's got the right number of floors and things like that, so it's a little bit annoying that there still isn't quite a ton of room around the hotel to separate it between it and the water park. So getting all the fences and bushes in there between the two is a little bit tricky, but I figure throw enough trees in there and hopefully it covers up the problematic areas and things won't look so bad. Aside from that though, still really happy with the way Hotel Breakers turned out. Especially now that it's got some more of those ancillary features around it, like the parking lots and the utility areas and things like that. Really makes it look more like a real place. It's pretty cool. After wrapping up the Hotel Breakers parking lots and things like that, still a bit more work to be done on the Magnum Entrance. I'd been putting off building the actual entrance building over here for the Magnum Entrance, and not for any particular reason, just that it never really came up. I haven't really been over here to this part of the park in a while to put it down. So finally, all of our entrances are fully built. I believe we don't have any more placeholder red grid in the entire park, which is pretty cool. So all of our buildings, all of our facilities finally built. Things are a little bit crammed back here in the Magnum Entrance area as well. Not quite enough room for all of the like bushes and things. Just because of the way that the Magnum layout is oriented compared to everything else. Not a huge deal. Something we can easily work around. Just doesn't make it look quite as grand as it does in real life. But of course, a little bit of ground texturing and foliage always goes a long way. Plus, it's nice that the entrance building will hide some underground path that we put in here to get guests over to the Cedar Point Shores area, which is a nice little side benefit. By the way, while we're over here, I do want to give another shout out to Bassi for another plugin that I haven't been using a whole lot lately, and I really should be, and that's the Proxy Pather plugin, which can save you a lot of time from manually making proxy path and screwing it up and getting your guests lost, as I tend to do. Really should have been using it a long time ago, but I'm finally trying to get more in the habit now. It's definitely going to be helping me to free those lost guests on the midway, which seems to be happening a lot. As we do more and more of the final path cleanup stuff, it's going to be super useful. But we're also using it a little bit here over by the Hotel Breakers area to help pretty things up. It's been super useful. So yeah, the Magnum area is finally looking pretty nice now that we have some foliage down in here, some fences. Since I built the Magnum station live on stream, I had kind of neglected to do some final tweaks and clean up on it. Been needing a little bit of love over here with foliage, so it's good to get that down. After that, moving over to the other side of the hotel for another bit of newer construction, and that is the Sandbar. Just a little pavilion on the beach over here, presumably where you can get drinks and hang out. I didn't actually go over here. I managed to get one photo of it on my trip. Unfortunately, not a lot of good reference photos at all for building this little beach area, so I just kind of built a nondescript building, made a little bit of guesswork as to what it looks like. Kind of bummed out, I only got one photo of it, and there were a lot of people in the way, so I didn't really get a good look at what it looks like. But that's okay. Peeps aren't going to be able to use it anyway, since it's outside the park boundaries. Just wanted to make sure we had a nice little building here with some tables and umbrellas. Helps make the beach look a little bit less monotonous. I know right now it's just a big blank area of sand. Not very exciting. But so are beaches in real life. There's usually not a whole lot going on. After that, we're moving down the beach to build our final ride of the park. I bet you didn't think that there was going to be another ride built, but you might have seen a little bit of placeholder grid in previous episodes for the jet ski rental. Another utility I'm not personally very familiar with, but as jet ski rentals do exist in RCT, it kind of makes sense to throw them in here as well. Give the peeps something extra to do. They're very excited to have a brand new ride open for the first time in 100 years. Plus, it does help make the beach look a little bit more exciting. Like I said a second ago, there's not a whole lot going on over here, but it is nice to add a little bit of extra detail in here, something to look at. Something out in the water, at least, to provide a little bit of movement. And then after that, it's time to finish up Perimeter Road. Like I said, I've been doing some cleanup on getting the outline of it done, but I also want to have some traffic going on it to make it look a little bit more lively and get some more movement down on the map. So like I built a while ago with the main parking lot, we're also going to have a testing car ride over here on Perimeter Road going all the way around the outside of the park. Just for, like I said, a little bit of movement. I was hoping it was going to be feasible to actually get peeps in the vehicles, but since, like I said, all this is outside the park, there really isn't a good place for them to get on and off the ride. I might play around a little bit with it in the future to see if I can come up with a solution for that, but as of right now, no peeps are going to meet in the cars, unfortunately, which is a little bit sad to see empty cars just driving around. But empty cars are better than no cars, so I'll take it. But not a whole lot to say about this either. It's just a normal car ride going all around here that starts at the Hotel Breakers drop-off area and goes all the way up to the front parking lot where the cars will just turn around and go back. I had to add a new feature to my Traffic Manager plugin in order to make it so that the cars will go at a reasonable speed without having to manually change every single one. So I can make some moving traffic with different looking cars, different looking colors, and a nice speed all with one click. It's been really nice. The plugin infrastructure in OpenRCT2 is really awesome. So definitely appreciating the use of that for all kinds of things in this park. As I mentioned in almost every episode, all the different plugins I've been using has made this so much easier than it would be otherwise. And with Perimeter Road being complete, that brings us to the end of Phase 7. Phase 7 being all of the outside the park things, all the parking lots, facilities, campgrounds, everything. So if the inside of the park is done and the outside of the park is done, you might be asking yourself, what's left? And there really isn't much of anything left. The final phase of the project is just going to be for more detailing and cleanup. I still have a pretty long list of to-dos of various things that I want to make sure that I tidy up before the park is considered complete. I'm also planning on sending it to a couple other people to get some feedback, see if there's any other glaring issues that I missed that are easily fixable at this point. So with all that being said, I think this is going to be the last normal build episode of the Cedar Point series. I'm going to be taking the rest of the build time off camera, as I said, doing that cleanup. It's probably not particularly interesting to watch and also makes for a very bad time lapse since I jump around a lot. I'm going to try my best not to take too long on this phase. I know a lot of people have been eager to see the final product in person. And trust me, I'm eager to be done with it as well. I've really enjoyed doing this project, and I am a little bit sad to see it come to a close here. But it's also been a lot of work, and it's going to be nice to take a little bit of a break. On the other hand, doing it as a series like this has been really interesting as well. It's been really nice to get feedback from people in the YouTube comments, and just to in general see that people are excited about it. Seems like it's been a pretty popular series, which is cool. So who knew that such a weird project would be so resonant with so many people? And I think that's pretty neat. But I think that's going to about do it for this episode. As I said, this is going to be the last regular build episode, so the next one you see from me is probably going to be the final tour. Looking forward to putting that one together a lot. But I hope you enjoyed this episode, and as always, if you've got any comments, questions, or suggestions, please let me know. Thanks for watching.